was a typical quiet afternoon in my suburban neighborhood. The sun cast golden rays over the neatly trimmed lawns and white picket fences. I had just finished my usual cup of chamomile tea, savoring the tranquility of the day. Life had settled into a predictable rhythm since my husband passed away 5 years ago. While I treasured the peace, there were days when the silence felt unbearably heavy. A knock on my door startled me. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, Daniel, my next-door neighbor, stood there looking more anxious than usual. I said, "Hi," he said. Daniel was a charming man in his early 40s, with kind eyes and a confident demeanor. We'd always exchanged pleasantries and occasionally chatted about gardening or the weather, but this was the first time he'd come to my house unannounced. "Claire," he began, his voice soft yet firm. "I hope I'm not bothering you." "Not at all," I replied, stepping aside to let him in. "What brings you here?" He hesitated, glancing over his shoulder as if ensuring no one was watching. When he finally stepped inside, the look in his eyes shifted from casual to something much deeper, a mix of vulnerability and urgency I couldn't ignore. "I need your help," he said, running a hand through his neatly trimmed hair. "It's something personal." I guided him to the couch, curiosity bubbling inside me. "Of course, Daniel, what's on your mind?" He sat with his hands clasped tightly together, taking a deep breath. "I know we don't know each other very well, but I've always admired your strength. You've built such a beautiful life, even after everything you've been through. And I could really use someone like you in my corner." His words caught me off guard. What kind of favor could he possibly need from me? Minor? Daniel explained his predicament with a mix of apprehension and hope. His younger sister, Emily, was struggling through a difficult divorce. She relied heavily on Daniel for support, but her situation needed something more. Someone with wisdom and a nurturing presence. "She's fragile right now," Daniel admitted, and I think hearing from someone who's been through hardship and come out stronger could really help her. It was an unusual request, but the depth of Daniel's care for his sister was evident. There was something endearing about his vulnerability, the way he wasn't afraid to ask for help, and the way he wasn't afraid to let Daniel... "I'd be honored to meet her," I said, placing a reassuring hand on his. "If you think I can make a difference, I'll do what I can." The gratitude that lit up his face convinced me I'd made the right decision. In the days that followed, Daniel and I began spending more time together. As we made arrangements for Emily to visit, he would stop by more often, sharing stories about his family, his work, and his dreams. I found myself looking forward to his visits in a way I hadn't felt in years. One evening, as we sat on my porch sipping lemonade and watching the sunset, Daniel turned to me. His gaze held an intensity that made my heart skip a beat. "Claire," he said, his voice low. "I never expected this favor to bring us closer, but it's been nice, hasn't it?" I nodded, unsure of what to say. There was a warmth between us, something unspoken, yet undeniably present. When Emily finally visited, it became a turning point not just for her, but for me as well. She arrived timid and unsure, but as we talked, I saw her confidence begin to bloom. We shared stories of resilience and hope, and by the time she left, I felt as though I had gained a friend. Later that evening, when Daniel came by to check on Emily, his gratitude was evident. He hugged me tightly, lingering just a moment longer than necessary. "Thank you, Claire," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've done more for Emily than I ever could have imagined. And you've done something for me too." That evening, as we shared a quiet dinner, Daniel opened up in a way he hadn't before. "These visits haven't just been about Emily," he confessed, his eyes searching mine. "They've been about the connection I feel with you. I never thought I'd feel this way again, but you've reminded me that it's never too late to find happiness. I was stunned, but as I looked into his eyes, I realized I felt the same. The moments we had shared, the laughter, the quiet conversations, had awakened something in me I thought was long gone. That night, under the soft glow of the dining room chandelier, we shared our first kiss. It was tender and hesitant, but carried the promise of something beautiful. In the weeks that followed, Daniel and I began exploring this new chapter of our lives. It wasn't always easy, blending our histories and expectations, but it was worth every moment. Emily continued to thrive, and so did we. Looking back, I realized that the favor Daniel asked of me wasn't just about helping his sister, it was about helping both of us find the courage to embrace the possibility of love again. And in doing so, we discovered that sometimes the most unexpected requests lead to the most extraordinary journeys.